Good evening again, Board. Tonight, at the request of a board committee, we've researched information on the creation of policy AEA Local. The purpose of the policy is to establish clear guidelines in the attempt to remove intra-institutional and inter-institutional systems that prevent equitable outcomes for all students. And so we started by looking at some other local districts to see if they had any AEA policies that we could kind of look at. And the only one that we could find was Dallas. So we looked at that for a little bit. And then I contacted TASB when I couldn't find anything in their HR library. And so the guidance from TASB is that Dallas ISD is the only district with AEA policy at this time. This was created specifically for them 2 years ago after years of planning, research, review of data, and district practices. AEA Local is not something that can be added at this time per TASB. So TASB is working with the National School Board Association to create a set of procedures that a committee would use to create an AE policy. The guidance would require the district to use current district data to find areas of growth and need, as well as research-based practices to establish policy around next steps. So if the board wishes, statements can be added to AE policy with the help of TASB now. However, TASB's recommendation is to wait for additional guidance and communication that will likely come with the next policy update. Do you have any questions?
Do you know when that update would be?
We do not know at this time the exact date, but probably I would think around December or January.
Who is the consultant you're visiting with?
Tammy Jordan.
There's a Fort Worth AEA local policy also. We had both of them printed for the June meeting, and I'd like to still discuss as the board, if we're waiting for an update, to have it be official from TASB. I mean, I'd hate to miss the opportunity to have the conversation about what that looks like, because there's so many realms of what the Diversity Council's already hit on, but then I'd like to have board participation, community participation. That's why we brought this in June and then postponed it along with the SOPs for the purpose of seeking additional community feedback. And I think that's even greater than just the parents that have been on the Diversity Council, in my opinion. So if the next, update 116 or something, if that's coming in January, I think we can continue the conversations, because the scope is huge. For when you read what, I would encourage everybody to look at AEA in Fort Worth and in Dallas. San Antonio and Houston probably are the largest locales, and I know Fort Worth has one, so I'm not sure why. Dallas's policy is really good, but if we can start workshopping that, is that okay, Mr. Sanders? Because I think that would allow us to talk about the scope, still take multiple touch points with the community to be able to turn that into an X policy if we wanted to, as opposed to something that TASB just gives us straight in January. And an X policy is a policy that we create specifically customized for our district.
Let me clarify. AEA, which is the sample that was shared with us, is only Dallas. Fort Worth has an AE. Houston and some of the other districts have an AE. So the AEA is only at this point in time with Dallas. And part of what TASB is organizing and working through a process is really where it will be customized, just like you've said, for our district, with data and research and all kind of information that we will gather to create that policy. So that's really why we felt like it was, with them working on this procedure and process, it's not going to be just a template that every district has, a cookie cutter. It will actually be customized for our district, with input from community and from whatever, committee members that we want to put on that committee. But I just want to clarify that AEA, which is what was presented and what's in here, is only Dallas, and AE is in Fort Worth and some of the other districts, but there's a difference there.
You're right, there is a difference. I'm sorry, I was speaking to this series. So I guess with what you know is coming, what would be the harm in having those conversations for all of us to grow and learn, to create value points, parameters, to be more poised for whatever's created that could be customized when the national template or national approach is recommended to us? Would there be any concern about meeting to be able to identify what the community is looking for? Because there's quite a bit of scope when you look at all those different policies.
Sure. I mean, the board has the privilege to do whatever they decide to do. I think that what my understanding is what TASB's going to put together is really a rubric, a kind of a guide for you to follow as you collect that information to put it into a format. But it's the board's choice on whatever they choose to do.
What are your thoughts?
I was going to say, I think we could do that in conjunction with our training as well that we are looking at. And I think workshops are a great place to start because we have an open dialogue and we're focused on what we want to do here. But I think we can start beginning those processes before TASB comes out with that. But I think, like I said, we're committing to additional training. I think we can start there.
Yeah,
Bobby,
Somebody-
Carl, are you? I mean, because it's all of us, and in collaboration with community, I would suggest it's all of us, not one or two representatives. Would you have thoughts?
No, I'm most certainly open to doing that in our research and working on the SOPs. We, came across this and thought it would be most certainly useful for here in Midlothian, which is why it was given to the administration. And so, no, I'm certainly open to it, exploring that.
And one thing I was going to bring up here in a little while, but I'll go ahead and do it now in regards to that type of comment is kind of thinking out of the box, having dedicated 1 hour workshops via Zoom, public can attend and all that kind of stuff. It's fine. With some of these subjects we really need to knock out. I mean, I think a lot of things are piling up, and our meetings are longer than maybe some. So I'd like to try to carve out, one a week or one or two a week, and let's kick some of these, just one subject, hour long, get it done, boom. What do y'all think? I mean, and I know schedules are tough and it's hard to get together in person, but we do have the use of technology, thanks to Mr. Garrett-Connie and his team, that we can make those things happen. So I'll touch on some of those possible items here in a second, but anything else for Dr. Heathcote?
Thank you for researching that.
Absolutely. You have an updated motion, though, so I just need to know which direction we're going to go.
Motion there, or
Is it
do we want to make?
Ms. McGrew's letting me know that she printed out an updated copy for you that's in your place since AEA is not available. And it's down in the red, so the recommendation would be to wait. So I would just need to know if you're wanting us to move forward with the creation of AE Local, or if we would wait for TASB's recommendations to come out to start that process. Can I just say with the wording of it, if you say that we're creating AE Local, my next step would be to go back to TASB to help get some direction on what that would look like. I don't know that that's really the planning that you guys are looking for, though, and so.
I mean, I think in terms of our discussions, we start creating, amongst all of us.
Okay.
So I'll move for the district administration to wait for the official finalization of a TASB recommendation on the guidance and creation of the policy. However, if we can begin the discussions and conversation to begin the process.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Walton, second by Ms. Prather. All in favor? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commander?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Board.